scored this season.
I'm glad you're convinced, because I'm not.
Well, yeah, I know. I understand your dismay, but Cleveland, we talked earlier about the Houston Texans leading that division and scoring 117 points on the season throughout 7 games. The Browns have lost 7 games. They've scored 130 points. It's telling the Browns have been competitive. They've hung in games with decent teams. Like Pepperjack just said, that late touchdown, they are a spread killer. They did it against Tennessee with a late score a few weeks ago to overcome that 7 points. I still think the Jets are the better team here. No matter how scrappy Cleveland's going to play, look for Josh McCown to come back and keep them in this game, but I do think the Jets win this by enough to cover. I'm going to have them win 28-17. Let's move on to the one that I have an opportunity to go to, and I actually did get tickets, and I am going, and I hope that the football gods will look out for me a little bit and allow the Oakland Raiders, who have spent the week in Sarasota hanging out at the Ritz-Carlton, have not been on vacation getting pedicures and manicures and drinking mimosas with their family and playing with the kids. I don't want to see them show up to the game all sunburnt tomorrow. They take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here at Raymond James. The over-under in this game is 49 points. I have seen this line flip. The Raiders were initially a 1-point dog. Now I have Tampa as the 1-point dog at home. I don't even – go ahead, Jack. You do this.
Well, last week I went against my Raiders thinking for some reason the Jacksonville Jaguars would stuff them at home. I know the Raiders, I think, are 4-0 now on the road.
I think that mystery was solved on Thursday night about the Jaguars.
And that's exactly where I was going. That was the first time I've actually got to sit down and watch the Jaguars play this week.
Oh, you poor guy! Did you put yourself through that?
I did, actually, and I that first half was very telling as to what's going on in Jacksonville. Even though they did add some firepower to their offense, they're just Bortles is not on the same page with Allen Robinson whatsoever.
I think it's checkout time for old Gus. I really do.
It was a terrible showing first half. He did. I believe Bortles ended up with a big game numbers-wise, but it's just telling of the way Jacksonville has to play catch-up late in the game every week, where they're down 20 and all they do is pass. So Oakland went there, kicked them in the teeth last week. I know they stayed in the Tampa Bay area for the past week. Mm-hmm. They're 4-0 on the road. I didn't. If you would have told me last year the Raiders were going to be 4-0 on the road after week 7, I'd laugh at you. But sure. They're really just a feisty football team. They got a great offense. Latavius Murray actually showed up last week. Mm-hmm. I see a whole lot of scoring in this game. I think it's another one of them shootouts that we've seen from the Raiders over the first half of the season. I expect them to. I'm not going against my Raiders this week because they proved me wrong last week. They are for real. They can win on the road. 33-29 Oakland.
Pepper Jack, 33-29 Raiders. In the shootout. Yeah, I like the overside of that play as well. Joey, what you got here?
I'm all about the Raiders, man. I'm just gonna. It's just this simple. They're the better team. They're better than the Bucs. I mean, if he's going to base on, the San Francisco 49ers, let me make this clear. Cleveland Browns fans, take a deep breath. Exhale. You're not the worst team in the NFL. That team lives in the Bay Area on this across the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. That's the worst team in the NFL. The Raiders are just a better team than the Bucs. There's no reason I know there's something to be said. They probably haven't been home yet. They've been on the road for 2 weeks in the Florida area, but I think they're going 2-0 in the Sunshine State. I like the Raiders in this game.
I like the call. I tell you, I'm going to take the Raiders here because I do think they're the better team. I do think they should win this game. The week that they've spent at the Ritz-Carlton hanging out is scaring the hell out of me a little bit, but I think that Jack Del Rio is an experienced head coach. He really wanted to get down here. As I've been made to understand, the way that this worked out is when the opponent list was released at the end of last season and the Raiders realized that they had to play 2 games in Florida, they petitioned the NFL to play those 2 games back-to-back in order to take these here, considering they had to travel to Baltimore. They had to be all these places East Coast. They said 2 games in Florida, let's at least stay there. Del Rio gets to hang out with his kid, who is the quarterback at the University of Florida, Luke Del Rio. This is a nice trip for the Raiders. I'm hoping it's not a vacation and it is a business trip. I know they did bring their families. They were playing in the kiddie pool. I didn't see any pictures of anybody at Disney World, thankfully, this week. Pepper Jack mentioned the Raiders are 4-0 at home, 4-0 on the road, 1-2 at home. 4-1 in their last 5 games. This is the better football team. I do think it's a bit of a boat race. I think the Raiders win the game 31-27. I look for Derek Carr to toss the ball against the Buccaneer defense, and hopefully I can walk out of that stadium with my head held high and at least a nice, humble, quiet smile and a 6-2 record plastered all over my face. On to the next. Sticking with some AFC West stuff, the Kansas City Chiefs travel to Indianapolis and play a Colts team that I don't think has much of a defense or much of a hope in keeping Chuck Pagano if they don't win that division this year. Over-under in this game is 50 points. The Colts are getting 3. Last week they got 3 points against Tennessee, and they smoked them. I did not see that coming. I don't see that coming this week. I'm going to speed this one along. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to lay the 3 points in a tight one. I think the Chiefs win it 24-19.
In a tight one. I'm going Kansas City as well. Andrew Luck, I feel I want to send this kid a sympathy card. I really do, because he's great. But the problem is, I really just fear this talent is going to be wasted in his career because of there's just nothing else around him. He has no offensive line, no protection, no defense, no running game, nothing. He has absolutely nothing to work with, and it's sad that that's how an organization treats their $100 million investment. But I like Kansas City. Like I said, I like Kansas City in this game for all those reasons. Colts just have, other than Andrew Luck, that could be that could be a top 5 pick in the draft without that kid as their quarterback. I don't care if it is at home. They have no defense. I like Kansas City because I think they're a pretty good team. I like Kansas City to win this game. Let's say 31-17.
Gotcha. Pepper Jack, fire away.
Okay. Anybody that wants to score some points on DraftKings, I think Spencer Ware has got to be in your lineup this week.
Very much so.
Jamal Charles is out. Not that that's mattered really with Spencer Ware. He's obviously taken most of the carries. He's going to have a big game against that Colts defense. I also see good things from T.Y. Hilton on the other side of the ball.
T.Y.
Kansas City struggles against the pass for some reason.
T.Y. Superfly.
Quality defenders, but it's going to be probably a lot of passing from Andrew Luck, I would imagine. I think they might be playing from behind a little bit. I know they're at home. They're pretty decent when they're at home. Kansas City is a 2.5-point favorite according to my book.
Okay.
I think you had it 3, Tom. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm going to go right under the total of 49. I'm going to go 26-21 Chiefs.
26-21 Chefs.
Who the hell are the Chefs? San Diego at Denver. Denver's a 4-point home favorite. Over under here 43.5. I'm going to jump out to move us along. I think Denver picks up a little revenge after the sneaky Thursday night beating they took in San Diego. Denver wins this game by a touchdown, 24-17. San Diego's actually, as much as it pains me to say, they're a good football team. I did not like Mike McCoy last year. I didn't think he was doing a very good job. I didn't think he was much of a head coach, but I actually take all of that back. That's a really good football team. They've lost some close games on just some bad breaks, and sometimes bad luck is enough to beat you in the NFL or in Major League Baseball or any sport with a ball. Denver's a real good football team. If they could be really a lot better if they had a better quarterback. Trevor Siemian's just very average, if you ask me. But Denver's defense and ground game minus C.J. Anderson, this could be the week to see if Devontae Booker wants to show up and bust out. I think he can. San Diego's had trouble with that. Denver wins the game 24-17. Go ahead and take San Diego, guys.
I like Denver. I'm jumping on Denver as well. I think the revenge factor is in play. I think Denver's going to remember that game, and they're going to come out at home a different team, and I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win this game pretty comfortably too. Regarding Trevor Siemian, yeah, I don't believe he is the long-term answer. Is the kid good enough to win the division? Yes, he is. Is he good enough to win you the Super Bowl? I don't believe so. That's the issue. That's the issue you're gonna have. I don't foresee. I know the defense is very good, but I don't foresee a championship in Denver with Trevor Siemian as your quarterback. I see a playoff team, not a championship team. But that said, I do like them. I like them in this game. I think revenge is in the air. I think they will take care of business.
All right, Pepper Jack, go ahead and take San Diego. I know you're going to.
Well, I'm looking at that spread, and I see Denver being a -4.
Right.
Mile High Stadium. What do you think that stadium brings to that? What is the, normally, like you had said earlier, you go to New England And if you see New England under like 4 or 3, or -4, -3, you're all over them because that home field advantage means so much. And I kind of believe the same thing here in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
-4 does not sound like an awful lot of points, especially since San Diego already beat Denver 2 weeks ago in San Diego. San Diego, though, is 9-1 against the spread the last 10 games on the road. So I don't know, maybe that comes into play with that actual point total. I agree with Joey. Trevor Siemian is really not the answer in Denver. Trying to do things like they did last year with Peyton Manning, just managing the football game and letting the defense, shut down the opponent for the victory. I'm going Denver -4, based on the fact that San Diego beat them 2 weeks ago. San Diego is up and coming. I don't see Philip Rivers swinging that ball around too much. I see a lot of pressure. I tell you what, have you watched Joey Bosa play for San Diego this year, though?
Pretty good.
He is looking good, isn't he?
Joey Bosa's going to be just fine. That kid's a load.
Football player. Strong.
Yeah, he's making some plays, making some big plays. 43.5 is what I got over/under. I don't think it goes over, even though America thinks it is. 64% of America is on that over. I see it kind of close to the vest. I see another one of those 23-17 football games. Denver squeaking out a victory and covering the 4.
Gotcha.
Not a terrible pick at all.
No, I like it. It's kind of I'm at 24-17 as well. I think that's about right. We'll see, though. This game really makes my stomach hurt. Arizona at Carolina. Prior to the season starting, and I've brought this up entirely too many times, but I'm just so proud of myself for being right. The Carolina Panthers I could see taking a shit coming into this season. If they don't win tomorrow, this is probably the end of their year. I think that's the hangman comes a knocking if they're done by tomorrow. You can't go 1-6 and come back from anything in a division where you've got an Atlanta Falcons team on the rise and a Buccaneer team that could easily make the playoffs at 8-8, 9-7. I don't think they will, but Carolina goes 1-6 after tomorrow. They're toast. This is fighting for their life. Let's see what kind of scrap they have in it. The Arizona Cardinals come to town. Carolina is a 3-point home favorite. The over/under here 47, which to me screams somebody's beating somebody's ass in this football game, and I don't think Arizona is going to travel to Carolina and beat their ass. I don't think so. All NFC Championship game revenge aside, that only goes so far. Carolina's going to fight for their life, and I see them winning this game, and enough to cover, but in a fluky sense, I see Carolina winning at 27-20 right at the total number.
I think you talk about revenge factor. I think Arizona's remembering that beatdown Carolina put on them in the NFC Championship game last year. I think this is a revenge. Talk about a revenge game. I think this is it. I think they remember that. They see a Panthers team that's really kind of licking their wounds right now. Like they're very vulnerable at the time. I think Arizona lays a whooping on them. 5. Yeah, I think Arizona lays. And if Arizona, if they are that team that can contend in the NFC, this is a game where they have to not just beat Carolina. They have to make a statement. They have to put a whooping on them, and I think they will. I really think they will. Look for them to get after Cam on the defensive side, and I look for Carson Palmer to have a big game against this lousy Carolina pass defense. I think Larry Fitz. I think Larry Fitz. I'm going to roll 31-14 Arizona.
31-14. Pepperjack, what you got?
Well, I've gone on a limb twice now for Carolina this year, thinking that they would rebound eventually. I know they're coming off the bye week.
I said that only would have worked out for you once at 1-5, but what do you got?
Well, I don't see them doing much. I'm not sold. I thought that maybe they were a better team and they were just maybe having some personnel issues on defense. Their defense, I don't know how they go from a 15-1 team last year with that quality defense to just what I like to call the Swiss cheese defense because there's holes all in it.
Did you make that up yourself?
Yeah, it's pretty good, huh? Carolina 14-2 straight up against the spread at home. I don't know. I don't see them winning. I see Arizona beating them. I see it being a close game. I do see Larry Fitzgerald being the difference maker here along with David Johnson. Jonathan Stewart is healthy, I believe. He might be able to run a little bit. But, yeah, Cam's got something wrong. I still don't think that Cam has rebounded from week 1 when he took those 5
Damn right he's got something wrong. He's on Joey Peeps' fantasy team.
I think you jinxed him, Joey. You are the curse.
You laid the wood.
You are the curse. I'm going to go really a low-scoring game because after watching Arizona against Seattle last week, they